Hey guys, yeah, the title's not deceiving you. I'm here to do a Clash of the Champions predictions video. Not gonna hopefully make this too long, but if it is, okay, just bear with me. I did print out the card right here, as far as as far as it's known according to Wikipedia. But yeah, basically, Clash of the Champions used to be formerly Night of Champions. Is what it is. There is some potential to potential for this show to be good, but overall you kind of see what's going on. Now I'm not going to deny, as much as some people may hate to hear it, I'm not going to deny that WWE won't probably try to throw a curveball at us and go a different route and all that with some of the decisions, but it's just one of those situations right now where I think honestly, Clash of Champions, you might get a title change here and there, but just to emphasize, oh, this is the kind of event that where championships can change hands, or at least one of the most important ones. But still, I don't know, it's gonna be like in the middle. This is one of the reasons. Here's the thing, I'll probably watch it, but not live. I'll probably watch the replay because one of the things I've gotten used to lately is just hearing what people's reactions are to it. And if there are good, positive reactions, I might tune into the rest of it and I might tune in and watch the rest of it live, I'm trying to say. So if they start talking positive, like, oh, this is better than I thought, maybe we underestimated WWE, or why don't they put more effort like this into Raw or SmackDown? Yeah, that might grab my attention to where I'll watch it live, or at least the rest of it. But for right now, it's just one of those shows where I'm going to see what people say first. And if it's not good, mediocre, I might just watch most of it on replay. But if it turns out to be better than people thought, yeah, I might tune in and watch it live. Or at least the rest of it. The only exceptions being, what I'm trying to say is the only exceptions of mega shows that I might try to watch live are WrestleMania, Survivor Series, Rumble, and maybe even SummerSlam. Because a lot of those, three of them at least, are unique and have to be seen live to be believed. But anyway, let's look at the card here and just go down, each of the matches. The first match is the pre-show. It's Asuka versus Zelina Vega. A lot of people have come out and said that Asuka's going to win. I'm in the camp, so Asuka's my choice. But we can't underestimate WWE sometimes, because whether we like to agree with it or not, or admit it or not, WWE has somebody, or has a few people or several people probably listening to what we have to say. And they'll probably be like, oh, okay, that person doesn't think we will put the title on Zelina. They think Zelina's going to lose. Okay, we'll put the title on Zelina. And they would do that. They would do that. They would go by what people are saying. They'll go by what people are saying. They're basically, what's the word I'm looking for? They'll send it back. They'll send what they hear. They send the information and research back to Vince, back to Kevin Dunn, or whoever. And whoever is in charge of booking will read what we had to say, or listen to what our criticisms are, or how we feel, oh, Asuka's just going to annihilate Zelina, da-da-da. And just to spite us, they would put the title on Zelina. I would not be surprised by that. I would not. Now, you might say, well, what if they do? The only way they'd put the title on Zelina on the pre-show, if it's revealed that her, Gaza, and Amos, the breakup was nothing but a ruse and just a plan for all of them to get gold. And if that's the case, okay, maybe there's some interest there. Maybe you got some intrigue put into something that we didn't expect you would. But right now, unless that's the case, got to go with Asuka. But if, again, it's revealed that this whole breakup situation is a ruse, then yeah, Zelina. But mostly right now, everybody is predicting Asuka. And I got to go along with that. Because it's obvious. You put it on the pre-show, a majority of the time, title changes don't really happen that much, but rarely on pre-shows. Alright. So the other match that we have on here is Bobby Lashley against Apollo Crews. I know a lot of people, Just Alex, formerly Deluxe Man, Solomonster, OTR Central, a lot of people are hoping that, Apollo Crews joins the Hurt Business. You know, I watched Alex's review today, and he feels that this is, in his opinion, he believes this is the last chance WWE, has to really correct the mistake they made last month by not having Apollo do a modern day version of the finger poke of doom on Lashley, pin him, and then reveal he's part of the Hurt Business. So this is going to be interesting. I will put it like that. I mean, obviously people are predicting Bobby Lashley, but again, a lot of people have also said that the whole Cedric Alexander turn, even though it's good that he's in the Hurt Business, it feels like it's a little out there or came out of nowhere. So could the Cedric Alexander turn be nothing but a ruse to kind of outsmart the Hurt Business and show that, hey, you guys are not as smart as you think you are? Who knows? But right now, definitely got to go with Lashley to go over Cruz, unless they have Cruz do the finger poke of doom on Lashley. Lashley basically lays down, then gives him the belt, and then you position Lashley for the world title scene. Maybe that's what they do, but honestly, right now, unless they go that direction, I think I have to agree with everybody that Bobby Lashley will be the one that wins. Okay, now we have the Street Profits against Andrade and Angel Gaza. Andrade Cien and Angel Gaza. I know people are getting tired of this feud, getting tired of this rivalry, but this, to me, I'll be honest with you, could be the match that has a title change. It could be one of the matches, and what I mean by one is there's probably a few more. We'll get into those in a bit, but I believe here there's going to be a title change. I think something's going to happen. I think Angel and Andrade will win. And they'll probably, unfortunately, be transitional champions. I hate to say that, but I think they're going to win it here, but they're not going to hold it for long. I would say that if they don't drop it the next night on Raw to whatever team they face, they'll drop it probably at Hell in a Cell. But in that being back to the Street Profits. But I am going to go with Andrade and Angel to win. And I think the reason being is even if they don't help her win the Raw Women's title on the pre-show, Zelina Vega is going to come back and help them become tag team champs because she'll reveal that the whole thing was nothing but a ruse. So yeah, basically what I'm saying when I talk about both those situations is expect a reuniting of this group. Expect it. Okay, we got next up the ladder match: Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles, and Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship. Basically to crown who's the undisputed champion for the Intercontinental title. These three, I think, are going to deliver a match of the night situation. They're going to steal the show, no matter what. They're going to steal the show. But again, this is where I think a title change is going to happen. I know that Alex earlier said that he doesn't see Jeff Hardy losing because Jeff Hardy recently re-signed. But I definitely see him losing because right now you need somebody to, counter the Universal Champion on SmackDown. So in my opinion, I see AJ Styles, not Sami Zayn. I see AJ Styles winning the Intercontinental title for the second time and basically becoming the undisputed champion and basically nullifying anything Sami Zayn had at any claim at being champion. So I'm definitely going to go with AJ Styles. Again, I could be wrong. They could keep it on Jeff. They could put it on Sami because both AJ and Jeff are more suited for the main event picture, the Universal title picture. But right now, I'm going to go with AJ. I think AJ is the wild card nobody is expecting. Nobody is looking at as to walk out with the title. So I'm going to go with AJ. Then we have the SmackDown Tag Team titles. Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura against the Lucha House Party. This, I think, could be where we get a title change. Now, I know some people are saying it looks like Lucha House Party is going to break up and everything. I don't think that's going to happen. Again, I think it's one of those ruse situations. I know I say that word a lot here. I'm using that word a lot here. But I think obvious it's too much of a ruse. Lucha House Party still has a bit of a cult following or a fan base, even if there are no fans legitimately there in person. So I definitely see Lucha House Party finally winning the tag team titles. And the reason I say that is because if you're going to put the belt on if you're going to put the belt on AJ or keep it on Jeff, then you need viable contenders to go after him. And I think right now SmackDown needs some names in that main event picture and the Intercontinental picture. So I could see Cesaro being put into the Intercontinental scenario, and I could see Nakamura finally being put into the Universal title picture. So I expect, that to be the result, and I expect Lucha House Party to become tag team champions. Alright, so next up we have Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler against the Riot Squad, Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan. I know Alex earlier predicted the Riot Squad to win. Unfortunately, Alex, I gotta disagree with you because I think what they're doing, even though it seems petty on WWE to have Lana get crushed several times through a table by Nia Jax on Raw because Miro Rusev is now with All Elite Wrestling, I don't think Nia and Shayna are going to lose the championships here because basically, even though it seems petty that they're having Nia do that to Lana, I think unfortunately that's setting up, as much as I may hate to say this and anybody else hates to hear it, they're setting up Natalya and Lana to challenge down the line for the tag team titles. So I think that's what's going to happen. So I'm predicting Nia and Shayna to win. I mean, it'd be nice for the Riot Squad to win. They're probably the only legitimate real women's tag team right now. But I have to go with Nia and Shayna to win in the end. Okay, Bayley, Nikki Cross for the SmackDown Women's title. I think it'll be a good match. I know people are not happy to see this match again for the title, but overall, though, despite how you might feel, I believe it's going to deliver. I think it's going to be good. Yes, Bayley will win, but expect Sasha Banks to come back. Expect her to return after the match. Bayley will win. She'll try to beat down Nikki Cross and all that. She'll try to beat her down. Expect Sasha to come back. And also expect Alexa Bliss to turn on her friend again because of the trance she's in, courtesy of her infatuation with the Fiend Bray Wyatt. So expect Bliss to kind of be a reasoning Cross loses, but then also expect Sasha to come back after the match while Bayley looks like she's on the verge of trying to beat down and injure Nikki. So expect that to happen. Okay, next match, the Universal title, Roman Reigns and Jey Uso. Alex, I know he's hyped about this because he feels this will solidify Roman Reigns as a heel, as the tribal chief and all that, as basically someone that's now out for himself. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think it'll happen because they did have him get more physically involved in that Street Fight tag team match about a week ago. So what I'm looking at is I'm seeing Roman Reigns and Uso having a match, but I do see Roman Reigns winning. And then I think the next person Roman feuds with will be either Jeff or AJ, depending on the end result of the Intercontinental title ladder match earlier on in the night. So if Jeff doesn't walk out with the title, that's Roman's next opponent. If AJ doesn't win in the title, then that's Roman's next opponent. Then again, it could be Daniel Bryan for all we know. So. But yeah, I do predict Roman to win, but I don't think it's going to be the kind of match that Alex is predicting. It'll be a bit competitive, but yeah, it will be a squash, but a competitive squash in my opinion. And then we got the ambulance match, Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton. This is a toss-up because I think, as much as some people may not like to hear it, I think Randy with the championship does give it more validation. And even if you don't want the championship to be included in his feud with Edge, and does kind of give Edge that happy ending by basically making the miraculous comeback from that career-ending injury to becoming WWE champion, even if you don't feel it's needed for that, even though it would make a good story, as much as some people may hate to admit it, by giving it to Randy, you give it validation, and then if you have someone like Keith Lee beat Randy, it elevates Keith Lee to the next level, because it shows that it'll basically, from a story standpoint, it will show that Keith can't, not Keith, but Randy can't beat Keith Lee straight up in a one-on-one match. And by having him lose a second time, especially with the with championship on the line, to Keith Lee, not only does it validate Keith Lee as the main event player he is, and probably the new face of the company, but it also basically makes things a little bit more clearer and non-cluttered, or clustered, or cluttered, if you will. That's the one I'm looking for, non-cluttered, for Randy continuing his feud with Edge. Now, if Drew wins, I expect Drew's next challenger, and Alex, he hated when I said this. He read it. He hated it. He said, when he read this, he was like, shut up, shut up. I hate you for that. Shut up. Because it's like, basically Alex's response was, and you got to watch the live stream he did on Clash, for his predictions of Clash of Champions. But when he read what I had to say, who Drew's next challenger would be if Drew wins, he was like, shut up. It's like, shut up. I hate you for that because I know you're right. Shut up, because nobody wants that. Because I told him that if Drew wins this, unless Keith Lee is revealed as being the one behind Retribution, or Keith Lee just turns heel to challenge Drew for the title, attacks Drew and all that, Drew's next challenger, just based off the fact that he led the Raw roster down to combat Retribution this past Monday on Raw, his next challenger is going to be Divakovic, a.k.a. the leader of Retribution, T-Bar. That is the next challenger. You know it. I know it. Now, hopefully WWE doesn't go right into it, and they maybe let Randy and Drew have one more match, and you involve Keith Lee. But I've got a feeling that's who Drew's next opponent's going to be if he retains. Now, how will this match go? Well, I can either see Keith Lee emerging from the ambulance the moment Randy opens the doors and attacking Randy and helping Drew to retain. But I can also say the same thing for Edge. I can say the same thing for Edge because it'll be appropriate for Edge to be the one that comes out of that ambulance after what Randy did to him to put him on the shelf, to be the one that puts Randy into the ambulance, and then maybe we get some kind of aftermath afterwards that kind of, from a storyline perspective, puts Randy on the shelf, and then you build maybe to a Hell in a Cell match between the two next month. Or maybe some kind of blow-off match of Survivor Series. Anyway, it's kind of a toss-up, but if they go with Drew, unfortunately, as people may not, he's only got two options then, and that's either Keith Lee, where you could do face against face, which is always a good thing, because it divides the fan base, or two, you have Keith Lee turn heel and still do the match and maybe reveal Keith Lee as being the leader of Retribution, or two, Drew goes against T-Bar, aka Divakovic, of Retribution. Because again, you look at Drew leading the roster this past Monday night, then that kind of tells you exactly who will be the next challenger. So, it's kind of a toss-up. Like I said, if Drew wins, it's either Keith Lee or T-Bar. If Randy wins, then he's going to probably have one more match against Drew, but then his next challenger will be mostly Edge. And I think they could save that at least until WrestleMania, where Edge would beat him in some kind of match to become the champion and then retire on top as champion like he did before. So, yeah, that's my predictions but overall, it's a toss-up. That's the only match right now that's a toss-up for me. And those overall are my predictions and thoughts on this Sunday's Clash of Champions from WWE. Let me know what you guys all think down below, whether you agree with my predictions or not. I would like to hear from each and every one of you on this. And I will talk to y'all later. God bless. Take care. Stay safe.